So,
What letter is this?
Q.
Q. This is indeed a Q.
All right, welcome to the Patriot Hour for Friday, December 28th, 2018. I am Michael, your host. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for giving us some of your time. We know it's valuable. Got a new article we want to read here. Please make sure you're subscribed. Ring the bell, toggle the switch. After the video, give a thumbs up. Help us beat the algorithms of YouTube. The more thumbs up and likes, the more this video will get shared. And the message gets out and spread amongst all the truth seekers. All right, where we go one, we go all, right? All right, so here we go. Federal Reserve Bank colludes with deep state to crash the stock market. December 29th, 2018. The Fed is a real enemy of the American people. I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous toward liberties than standing armies. That's Thomas Jefferson. It's either we, the people, or the Federal Reserve. There's no room for both in a free nation. How many times has it been said, State of the Nation? How many times has it been said? The deep state is the enemy of the people. That the mainstream media is the enemy of the people. That the CIA is the enemy of the people. That the FBI is the enemy of the people. That the NSA is the enemy of the people. That the DOJ is the enemy of the people. That the Democrats and rhinos are the enemy of the people. That most of the U.S. Congress is the enemy of the people. That the whole SES, Senior Executive Service, is the enemy of the people. Virtually the entire legal class, i.e., bar attorneys, is the enemy of the people. Who can argue with any of these self-evident statements? Each one is entirely true, as the election of Donald Trump has revealed. In fact, Trump tweets alone have exposed the whole bloody system for what it truly is. Got to read more here. This is from stateofthenation.com. Pick up right here, the enemy of the people. However, and it's a huge however, mind you, it is the Fed and especially the central banks worldwide that are the real enemy of the people. In fact, the whole world is now witnessing just how dangerous and deadly, reckless and feckless the Federal Reserve, the Fed, can be. Only the initiated really understand that the Fed has always been this dangerous throughout its entire existence, as well as all the watch Fed chairman Jerome Powell intentionally trigger a stock market crash in real time, as we all watch the Fed chairman Jerome Powell intentionally trigger a stock market crash in real time. As a matter of historical fact, every stock market crash and economic depression has been caused directly by the action and or inactions of the central banks, and before central banks by the large private banks that constituted the international banking cartel. All right. The many bankster institutions that make up the current Rothschild crime syndicate are only the latest incarnation of the doctrine system of currency control and manipulation that goes back over 5,000 years. Before the Rothschild clan, there was the black nobility in the northern Italy in the late 1200s. And way before them, there was the Babylonian Brotherhood of the ancient Middle East with many other bankster entities in between. 2018, the year the Fed exposed itself. True to form, President Trump has once again taken to Twitter to expose the single biggest scam in the world history, the utterly fake Federal Reserve System. Truly, it doesn't get any bigger than the central banking racket. It doesn't get any more perilous since it is these international banksters who have purposely engineered every single war in modern history. All right, everything I've read has told me that same thing. That's just what these P&L perps do. They look for new ways of wealth creation, and it just so happens that war is a really great business for them. Governments are forced to borrow during wars, folks. If you're under this debt system, you are forced to borrow every dollar. And sometimes they fund both sides, we have found out from the history books. The globalists also thrive on the disaster capitalism that results after the wars. All right, so after they go in and blast it apart, they get financed to go in and fix it with contractors. They also take advantage of war opportunities to put into practice their primary MO, or WWG1WGA, with which to fabricate new nations and then societies. This is where there is such a choir of disagreement with Trump's troop pullout from Syria and Afghanistan. They haven't done everything they wanted to. The banksters need and want war to fuel their artificially propped up perpetual war economy. The whole world over. This is why Powell has no reservations about triggering a full-blown stock market crash in broad daylight this Christmas. Nowadays, the banksters don't even care that the American people see their premeditated collapse of an entire global economic and financial system. That's right, Powell is in complete unconcerned that everyone knows he's carrying out the devastation of various markets and national economies worldwide. The Fed has always exercised this much power and influence, but surreptitiously implemented their secret agendas of monetary destruction under the radar, way under. Not so anymore, as people everywhere watch Powell insidiously raise the interest rate at the time of extreme instability and increasing insecurity, great risk and growing uncertainty, as well as general fear, apprehension, and anxiety permitting the global investment community. What a perfect time to jack up the Fed interest rate. Why? Please tell, pray tell, would the Fed chair, why, please tell, would the Fed chair make such a stupid move? Actually, a series of stupid moves throughout 2018. Because he's been told by his deep state handlers who have been coerced by their international banking cartel masters. That's why. So Powell is a deep state inside man to execute the nuclear option, aka an engineered stock market crash. So we've been seeing that a lot. A lot of things don't make sense with these people, but they stand their ground. And that's just part of it, folks. You're going to see that it doesn't make sense. It has never made sense. But what else can they do? Their back's against the wall. As a Fed chairman, Powell himself has no real power. It's all perceived. And the fact that the POTUS can fire him in a heartbeat if he feels the necessity to do so. See the legally, the president can fire chairman of the Federal Reserve under a specified clause. But deep state would have us believe otherwise. So back to the list above. However, it is an extensive list posted above, each culprit of which is clearly an enemy of the people, which must be considered in the light of this critical analysis. You see, each and every one of these exceedingly dangerous institutions run money. With regular funding, they can carry out their nefarious deeds with impunity and then cover them up for decades. And so they have, at the request of the banksters. As a notorious and prototypical enemy of the people, Maher Rothschild once said, I've seen this many a times, "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws." All right, so December of 18, the month of huge happenings. Who can deny that this December has been a blitz of major events and radioactive revelations? The George H.W. Bush funeral alone got people talking like never before. See, something quite huge is about to go down. Martial law, military tribunals, or both. So there's an article there. This links to several other things. Breaks down all kinds of good stuff. So, of course, before the unparalleled PSYOP, the American people who were provided with indisputable evidence of the statewide black operation conducted in California. It's all spelled out. Smoking gun, hard evidence shows campfire was man-made. Genocide, mass destruction of paradise carefully planned. Then the nation was treated to a rapid series of Trump tweets with a deep state busting initiatives that the right has correctively perceived as Christmas present. Each of these unprecedented moves and maneuvers was designed for the upcoming big event. See, Trump's been very serious mission preparing for the real battlefield after January 1st. Did someone slip Donald Trump some kind of political Viagra? That is another article for you to read, so I'll link this below. You guys can jump into each one of these. Even the well-timed government shutdown will have many unattained benefits for we the people. Not only is this brilliant political move revealing the Democrats and the rhinos as stone-cold traitors to the American Republic, It is giving Trump administration the legitimate pretext to jumpstart the military tribunals for mass treason. The Fed chairman and his fellow governors ought to be the first one on the docket. Government shutdown, good, we'll keep it shut down so we, the people, can see how worthless, wasteful, and woeful it is. Key point, the Federal Reserve Bank is not federal. It is supranational. So there's no reserve. It's actually in deep debt. The Fed is really not even a bank. It's a printing press that makes Federal Reserve notes, which are debt instruments, not assets, with real value out of thin air. So the conclusion to this, their final solution, market crash, dollar collapse, and World War III. Now the reader understands why the Fed is truly the enemy of the people. We are all watching it wreck and ruin the U.S. economy in real time with purposeful design. Therefore, Trump only alternative is to fire Powell now before he crashes the markets, and do so before a market crash sets up a cataclysmic domino effect that has been pre-planned by the New World Order globalist cabal for decades. Bottom line, Deep State and the Fed are conspiring to crash the markets and collapse the economy. In the light of these stark realities, there's one immediate response that must be taken to prevent their final solution from manifesting. And the Fed. Special note, it is true that the stock market is nothing but a rich man's casino. It's actually a global gambling casino where the house always wins and the bettor always loses, even when they think they've won. In this way, the New York Stock Exchange, as well as other exchanges, serve to transfer massive amounts of wealth from the small investors into the moneyed class. The degree of the insider trading alone that's done by the power elite is staggering, and as it translates into trillions of dollars of profits every year. Truly, the world would be a much better place when the markets collapse, once and for all. At the end of the day, it'll be the 4 Ds that take down the system for good, as explained in this present piece. The 4 horsemen herald the death knell of the global economic and financial system. That'd be a good read. So, presidential action plan. The POTUS really has only one option at this critical point in U.S. history. Military tribunals, why are they absolutely necessary? State of the Nation, December 24th, 2018, end notes. Expert from Economic Armageddon, financial apocalypse are upon us. I'll read this disclaimer. It is a Federal Reserve System and its fatally flawed practice of debt-driven, fractional reserve banking that is the object of the scorn and discern. Likewise, it is a Federal Reserve Bank, Fed, that deserves our accommodation and searing criticism. Why? Because the Fed is not legitimate. It is not a properly constituted or correctly legislated organ of government. It is actually a privately owned consortium of banking agents whose ownership is more foreign than domestic. The Fed is legally unfit to conduct business on behalf of the American people since, as a private entity, it lacks the congressional oversight necessary when appropriated funds have been allocated by the legislative branch of government. The printing presses of the Fed produce notes, as in promissory notes, which are nothing but instruments of indebtedness for all who possess them, not too unlike credit cards, actually. Therefore, the money it is printed is counterfeit. It is surprising that an international privately owned crime syndicate, which issues fake money, would be the biggest player in the worldwide funny money monopoly game that is bringing the entire world, commerce, finance, and business to a virtual standstill. Why are we talking about the greatest ongoing financial crisis in recorded history? And the Fed is institutional public enemy number 1, responsible for this multi-decade crime spree. All right, that was lengthy. That was a good little piece there I wanted to read, get out to you guys. Definitely, folks, something to keep in mind. Trump has been calling these people out. In his tweets, he keeps saying the words, we the people, we got to get power away from D.C., away from the Fed. He said a lot of things, and if you are in tune to what is going on, it's really clear. It really, really is clear. So I suggest take a look at this article, go over the links that they link you to. I'll put this down below. And maybe check out some of his most recent speeches. He was just talking with the military. Before that, he had done a couple last week. Just anytime he really gets a chance, he'll, if he starts getting into this stuff, you'll hear it. All right, again, maybe I'll put something together on that as well and put it out. So look forward to that. All right, again, it's about 16 minutes in. I'll go ahead and shut this one down. I'm Mike. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed each and every one of you worldwide. And we'll see you back here real soon on the next Patriot Hour update video. God bless.
You know what letter that is, Grover?
I think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q.